Phoenix Radio Company presents another program, this time from the Impact Zone and the Transformation Zone. This is a place where you learn how to live by the zones. And today, it's all about being a good twit. Now, what in the world does that mean? Friends and foes, and perhaps a few others who just kind of hang around. And of course, right now it's a Tuesday. It is the 1st of July, and so we are on the second half of 25. And we are in the mode, the model, perhaps the motivation to try and make 25 still a very significant year. And that's harder and harder to do for more and more people. Things are very challenging. There are many opportunities. I know I have many, but there are also many obstacles and difficulties and challenges to make life happen. And yes, you already see it already, don't you? Well, on this Tuesday, July 1st, I decided that I'm going to start to really focus on something different. And this came to me, while I was walking around doing my kind of morning walk, thoughtfulness, praying and talking. And all of a sudden, it came to me. And I thought, well, that's kind of a crazy idea. But the more I thought about it, I said, well, maybe that would be a fun idea. I ran it by a few friends, and they weren't so sure it was a good idea. But I'm going to at least give it a try and have some fun with it. We talk about interesting ideas, and now we're talking about, hey, perhaps there's inconvenient ideas. And the line that I have used is, what if everything you thought you knew was wrong? Well, maybe this is wrong too, but what is true that I have to continue to do what you need to do? And today I was just talking to a young woman trying to start her own business, and everybody should try to do that from time to time. Yeah, just see if it works. This is a wonderful time to do that because you have all of the marketing tools available that you may need sitting right on your work desk. Now, many, many years ago, when I was first in the broadcasting business, it took quite a multi-million dollar operation to get my voice. And it was a pretty good voice then. I think I've still got the pipes, as they would say, for it. But to get my voice and my message around half the world, it took an incredible amount of equipment and electricity and gasoline to power the diesel engines that created the electricity. And then the tall 500, 600, 700-foot towers that would send the radio waves around the world. I'm doing equivalent of the same thing now with a computer, a microphone, and a $20 piece of software, and simply, and maybe not quite so simply, that I know how to do this. I've learned how to do it. I've done it for years, and I can teach you how to do it, but the equipment now is extraordinary. And I mean extraordinarily useful, practical, and inexpensive. Well, what I was doing is we are very much into the idea of the transformation zone. I've been working with a number of colleagues. My friend Joe Pine has just completed the first draft, well, the second draft, the third draft. It's now ready to go to the publishers. And it is about the transformation economy. And that's become a big expression because I really believe that that's what we all should be about. The curiosity zone. Learn how to be curious. The impact zone. Learn how to make your mark. The transformation zone. Learn how to make significant changes in your life and help other people do so in their life and business. And so I was thinking about, transformation and then what it takes radio. And of course, part of the double meaning of what it takes radio comes from the friend who kind of christened me. Just before he died, he had written a number of books called What It Takes, then the subject of what it takes. And he said to me, Stan, I'd like you to try and continue that on. That was my trademark, my brand, and he had been a very significant uh, big business coach back in the 60s and 70s to some of the major players. And he was now in his 90s, and he was quite ill, and he then passed away shortly after. He told me, he says, Stan, take the what it takes and try and make it work for you. And so what it takes radio, a lot of our coaching is we're trying to help people discover what it takes. And so WIT, what it takes. And then transformation. It may take a transformation to do what it takes. And then all of a sudden it hit me. TWIT, TWIT. And the TWIT, that's a foolish person. You call somebody a twit. They're kind of foolish and silly and not to be taken seriously. Yeah, a twit. And then if you go from the noun to the verb, a twit means if you twit is to kind of tweak somebody, to kind of tease somebody, tease them, taunt them, that type of thing. And I said, well, without being mean, that's a lot of what good communication is all about. Kind of, here's a tease, here's a challenge. That's a little bit of a taunt. And of course, I do know from my own broadcasting that the best kind of broadcaster is a person who makes you perk up, look up. What do you mean by that? How do you know that? Are you sure that's right? Are you sure that's true? Should I believe that? Well, that I knew from 40 plus years of broadcasting. And then all of a sudden I recalled, because I was one of the first persons to actually discover them, the TED Talks. Now, that came from an internet guy who said, I'm going to do a series of programs about technology, entertainment, and design. And so he asked people to come and talk about technology, entertainment, and design in the modern world. TED. That's how TED Talks began. Now they're about everything. And then there was the big TED Talks, and then there were the TEDx Talks. And of course, that still is a very wise and wonderful and continuing thing. But it's been around for 20 plus years. Maybe we need something different, maybe something with a little bit more edge to it. And so here's where I am. I and my friends are in the business of trying to create transformations, not about entertainment, not about technology, not about particularly design, though design can mean a plan and something pretty. It's about wit, wisdom, insight, and truth. Wisdom, insight, and truth is what it takes to be a man or a woman who will make a difference in the world, who can bring about perhaps a transformation. So I said, should we have a series and have fun with it called TWIT Talks? Well, I can tell you right now, the reception to the idea among my friends and colleagues was mixed. Oh, Stan, are you sure you want to do that? And I says, no. And said, well, maybe you should make sure. I said, I can't make sure of anything. Life is an experiment, bold, brave experiments. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. So I decided, and again, here's the deal. Rather than calling up and spending hundreds of dollars, I went to Stash, my AI guy, who has now gotten to know me. That's scary. The machine begins to know me and begins to know what I like and how I could sound and how he should write to please me. And I said, design me a logo. I just said, design me a logo for TWIT Talks. And it's about transforming people or helping people make transformations through wisdom, insight, and truth. And guess what? It popped up and said, okay, Stan. I mean, it didn't talk to me, but you could almost get it in the way it writes. Okay, Stan, I can do that, is what it wrote. And I said, give me a little time. And then all of a sudden, there was this thing started to move around, and it took about a minute or two, maybe three. Took it a while, and then finally, bingo. And I had said that my favorite colors are black and white, red, gold, and silver. Now, those are my 5 colors that I want to use in my business and life. Black and white, red and gold, and silver. And this is what he came up with. How much did it cost me? It cost me nothing. It was free. Not really. I still have to pay the very small fee for the services, but this is about the 15th or 20th one it's done for me for some of my subjects. This, through June. Yeah, a number of them, particularly for the book that I have written called Books to Broadcasting. That's for authors, so that they can sell more books by becoming broadcasters. Then the book, which we just completed, which is How to Be a World-Class Jesus Entrepreneur, has ready and is on Kindle. And it's prefaced by another very short book. Remember, it is the age of short books. And it's called The Jesus Entrepreneur. And there's 4 other titles I now have in mind. And because of my robot, it will be possible for me to easily write a small book every week, maybe 2 or 3. And then I will complement it with my video and my audio podcasts. And of course, I will then take my robot, and he or she, I called it Stosh, so I guess it's a he. And that was my nickname. And what will happen is when I take my rambling thoughts on the radio, which work okay sometimes, but it will take it, and in a few minutes, it will turn it into a fully publishable, perfect, no typos, no spelling errors, no bad punctuation. It'll turn it into a very well written, better than I can write, though I can do pretty good, but it's far better than me, article which I can publish in different blog posts and in different of the, different social media platforms. In effect, every day I can be, and I remember it, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it, called She's Here, She's There, She's Everywhere. And if my friend Deb is listening to this, she knows the origins of that story. She said, Stan, your job is for her, for me, for people to say about me, she's here, she's there, she's everywhere. That's enough for today. That was a bit of a twit. Okay. Hopefully a little transformation through wisdom, insight, and truth. I don't know where all of this is going. I'm at my burning bush birthday, so I'm officially old. So that means I have a little more freedom to kind of mess around because there's not a whole lot people can do to me anymore. I appreciate you. I appreciate that you give me some time. I'd love to hear from you. I think I can still be helpful at this advanced age and stage in life. In fact, maybe I have some wisdom, insight, and truth. I certainly have enough scars to go along with a few stars. And I have lots of stories. And remember, stories are what really communicates, and stories are what really motivate. And stories are often what heals what is hurting you. Just let that sit on your head for a while. Just let that twit with you for a while. There we go. The tweets are gone. They've been taken over by the X, but we're back with TWIT. TWIT Talks. Transformation, wisdom, insight, and truth. And I'd love to have you be on the program and to give your own TWIT talk. Till next time, and that'll be soon. Bye for now.